remember, I've been absolutely fascinated by how people learn together in communities. I've been interested in the role that language plays in that learning, and I'm also interested in what counts as learning a language. What does it mean to learn how to read, write, speak in a language? And I'd like to share a few things that I've learned over the course of my lifetime, starting with some of my earliest experiences. This is a picture of myself holding my newborn baby brother. I'm 6 years old, and I'm flanked by my parents. And it's at this time that I realized something really important. My father immigrated a while back from Iran to seek a new life, a new community in the US. And it's this age where I came to realize that how you speak can have a real impact on how you're valued within a community. And I found myself spending a lot of time reading Dick and Jane over and over again, because what I won't find out until much later, when my mother tells me this in the kitchen maybe a decade ago, that I was misidentified as Latina. And I was in a special group that focused on fluency only. So that's where I was. But I have to tell you, growing up on the Gulf Coast of Florida was amazing. It's just teeming with life and creatures. I wanted to discover everything. I wanted to learn about how our world worked, how nature grows around me. I was excited about all the creatures that were there. But during my high school years, I find myself failing every single course except for art. How is that possible? For someone who loves to learn and loves to discover, how did I fail at the language of learning? So let's put a pin on that and go forward to the present science standards. And Danielle really laid it out beautifully. The focus being on the practices of science rather than science content, science facts. And the standards describe science as involving a specialized way of talking and writing, which is entirely the case. It's true. We see it in the scientific publications. There is a formal language involved. But we also combat a misconception that science is one thing and one type of language, and that the price for admission is this notion of this special language that you have to know in order to be a part of it. And that's a direct contradiction to what I've experienced, because I get to hang out with scientists in a lot of the work that I do. I get to see how they learn, how they read, how they speak to each other when they are trying to learn something new, or in fact something that's confusing to them. Even things that they've created themselves. I find that the language that they use is, well, language. That the language of learning is merely a lot of the language that we bring already to the space, that many of our students, our young students, already know. I've noticed this when it comes to the act of learning and pushing back on ideas. And the idea that we are living in a multilingual world, kids are coming up with they're coming to the classroom with so many funds of knowledge, right? They come with not even just one language, but more than one. Some of them more than 2 languages. And it really is a reflection of our growing global economy and the way that we learn and live together as a meta community. And the new passing of Proposition 58 is a real reflection of this reality that we have. In addition to the increased demand for children to learn more than one language, is also the fact that we've long known the cognitive benefits, the cognitive flexibility that grows, as well as the attention that we gain when we are engaging in multiple varied languages in a classroom community space, in all of our community spaces. And so, in terms of helping us learn, the language of learning is involving all of the funds of knowledge that we bring to a space. And I wanted to share a little bit about a summer experience that I had. I am a researcher of 2 parallel programs, one for children and one for adults, and I love going between the 2 contexts. I learn a lot. This young 6-year-old is proudly displaying the very first story she's ever created, and she created it at our summer camp. And you can see the absolute accomplishment on her face of becoming more literate within her community. Next to that is a summer intern, an intern participant in an engineering summer experience program, and he is showing me what he considers the mathiest thing he's ever written in his life. Look at the symmetry. The symmetry between these 2 individuals that are becoming more literate within a community. The prize for admission was language, and they got to grow in their language and their literacies as a result of interacting and using their funds of knowledge. And that is an important point that I wanted to share with you. So I'm going to leave you with a question. Now, in the 21st century, we have available a lot of technologies that allow for personalized learning. And that may be very useful for students to engage in on their own. But when students are gathered within a single space as a community, how much should we emphasize the opportunities to learn from experts on what it's like to learn in their respective fields? How much can we emphasize, and how much should we emphasize the idea of teaching as co-learning, that we're celebrating all of the knowledge and all of the languages that are present in a classroom space? How much should we emphasize making and exploring and discovering together and building together? To me, this is what a community-based learning experience can look like. And if any of what I shared spoke to you, come speak to me.